Om Jnanatimrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master was kindly of whom I saw the shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances under his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 9, text 31.
Also important one.
Yeah,
The good.
also important one. Nearly every verse in this chapter is an important one. Most confidential knowledge. So just to recap, we spent a couple of weeks talking on text 30. Like I mentioned, it's a bit of a controversial one, saying that even if a devotee engages in some abominable action, then they're still to be considered a saint because of their situated in their determination to serve Krishna, still to be considered a saint. So, but Prabhupada sums everything up in the last paragraph to make sure we don't misunderstand this verse. So we'll read that, the last paragraph. Now, Gulshan, you can do that if you like, the last paragraph of
Yeah.
text 30. On the other hand,
The meaning.
no, just
The,
read the
the
whole paragraph. On the other hand.
from the meaning is there that even if one fully
No,
engaged,
no, no,
is that the one?
no, no, no. Text 30.
Yeah.
The last paragraph of the purport, starting on the other hand. Just
It's on the 30, and it has got a no. It's got some Sanskrit 4 lines in there. After that,
It starts on the next page, the last
next
paragraph.
page, yeah.
Or 13.
30.
Or 13.
No.
No,
Ninth chapter, text 30, the end of
yeah.
the purport. The end of the
It's
purport.
page 413.
Oh, okay. Well, it depends what kind of book you have, yeah. And my book, it's a bit different. Yeah.
No, I didn't get. There is a 4 lines of the in between the purport. There's a 4 lines of
No, go
Sanskrit.
further than that. You're too far forward. You got to go later on. Go to It's about another 8 lines after that.
Yeah, okay.
On the other hand.
On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotion service can act in all kinds of abominable way. This what I mean. Okay. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connection. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs. As previously explained, no one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in the character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee.
Yeah. So, yeah, Prabhupada explains here, when we take to bhakti, it's like declaring war against Maya. So Maya's business is to keep the conditioned souls in illusion in the material world. And as soon as you try to get out of that, then Maya's going to attack. Maya's going to attack and try her best to pull us down from that, trying to escape. Anyone tries to escape. Just like if you're in a prison, right? If you try to escape, the prison warden, the prison officer will try to will obviously try to capture you and bring you back in, right? It's not going to just say, oh, good on you, you know, see you later. They're going to try to capture you and bring you back in, you know. So Maya's like the prison warden. So she's going to, of course, she is a officer of the government. I mean, just like the prison warden's officer of the government. So Maya Devi, who is the wife of Lord Shiva, she's in charge of the material world. So she's deputed by Krishna to to keep all the souls that have turned away from Krishna, to with rebels, all the rebels that have turned away from their constitutional position to engage in loving service to Krishna. So her business is to punish them and keep them in illusion. And they want to enjoy without Krishna, so she facilitates that kind of mentality and gives us the idea that we can be happy in the material world and everything like that, which is, of course, not going to happen. But yeah, as soon as you try to escape that, then she's going to test. So she's not going to let anyone go back to Godhead if they're not really sincere and serious. So she's going to test. Of course, ultimately, she would be happy, Maya would be happy, if someone does become a pure devotee. And there's a story like when Dhruva Maharaj became a completely pure devotee, he was only very young, and the Vaikuntha airplane, the Vimana, came to pick him up and take him back to Godhead. And he's only young, so he was having trouble stepping up into the plane, having trouble stepping up. So it's said that that Maya came there at that point. Maya came and Dhruva stood on Maya's body as like a step. So Maya came there to be like a step for Dhruva to get up into the plane. So she was like, you know, helping the devotee to go back to Godhead. So if you pass the tests of Maya and prove that you are, you know, sincerely wanting to serve Krishna and not try to cheat Krishna, then she'll be helping you. Because she's also a devotee. Ultimately, Maya Devi is a devotee of Krishna also. But she has Prabhupada explains, thankless task. Just like, you know, no one's going to be glorifying the prison in charge. Oh, you were so wonderful. You were so glorious. It's a horrible, you know, job to do, you know. But someone has to do it. So, you know, Prabhupada says she has a thankless task like that. But very important service she's doing. Looking after all the criminals. Mm.
Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, Maya's testing you," and all this type of thing. Is that really true, or you know?
Well, you can see it two ways. You can
know?
see Maya as testing, or you can see Krishna as testing, because I mean they're the same side, right? So whether the boss is testing or the servant of the boss is testing, but it's all coming from the same source. Yeah, so it's no different. You know, it's like, you know, is it Krishna's mercy or the spiritual master's mercy? I mean, it's all coming from the same. I mean, the spiritual master's mercy comes from Krishna ultimately anyway. So yeah, it's all the same team, you know. So, you know, in Christianity, they talk about like a devil that's like not under God's control. You know, Satan, right? Satan, yeah. So it talks about Satan as if someone that's like competing with God and they're not under his control, and there's some rivalry going on there, you know, like competition and rivalry like that. But actually, that's not a fact. God doesn't have any competition. He doesn't have a rival. No one escapes his control like that. So that's not exactly correct. So even we can look at another person that's seen in like a negative kind of way, and that's the person that's in charge of this age that we live in, Kali. So there's a person in charge of Kali Yuga. So, and he is a male, and he's known as Kali. So, and it's portrayed that, you know, he's propagating, spreading a lot of really negative things. It's called the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, and there's so much cheating and everything like that. So, and envy and lust and greed and all these kind of things. And Kali is propagating all that. So is Kali like escaped Krishna's control and working against Krishna's will? No, he's actually fulfilling Krishna's desire. So this Kali Yuga is part of Krishna's plan, that there is a Kali Yuga. And why the hell would Krishna want a Kali Yuga, which is such a horrible time? Does anyone know? Anyone has any ideas? Why would Kali Yuga be part of Krishna's plan? An age where you just do whatever you like, and there's no one follows any rules. The laws of God are thrown out the window, and everyone just does sort of whatever they like and like that, and blaspheming God and doesn't believe in God and so forth. So why would that be part of God's plan? Because some atheistic people think that, well, if there is a God, well, you know, things have got out of his control. You know, he might have started off, you know, in control of the material world, but things sort of got out of his grip, you know, got out of hand, and he's sort of, oh no, I've just sort of lost control, you know, like that. Because otherwise, people say, well, if God is all good, well, how could he allow so many like horrible things going on and like that? So things must have got out of control. And other people will say that, well, this is an evidence that there is no God, because if there is a God, then there wouldn't be allowing all these real
How about
horrible things to happen. And then there's other people that say that yes, there is a God, but he's sort of lost control of the show, you know, and like that, it's sort of got out of his hands now. But that neither of those is a fact. Neither of those is a fact.
what's the truth? What's the
Yeah,
truth?
what is the truth? I'm asking you first. So, and then if you
I
can't
really
say, then
don't
I'll say.
know.
Only
I haven't
Krishna knows
thought
the truth.
about it.
You haven't
Only
thought
Krishna
about
knows.
it? Well, it's good to know these things because there's heaps of people that think like that. Either that all this bad stuff going on is a sign that there is no person in control, no God, or that God's just too weak, you know, to be able to handle it. It's just gone, you know, it's like you might start a business or something, but then it reaches a certain point, it gets bigger and bigger, and you just can't maintain it anymore, and it just all falls apart, right? Because you just can't keep a grip on the management and the maintenance of the thing. So there's people think both of those. There's people that think both of those ways, either of those ways, but neither of them's true. The actual fact why Krishna arranges that there is such a terrible age like Kali Yuga is that he's giving people the free choice that want to live in that anarchy means like sort of no rules, and you just make up your own rules and do whatever you like. So Krishna knows what we desire, and there's a whole bunch of souls that just want to be rebels and not follow God's laws and live in that way and try to be like God themselves and try to control and enjoy and everything. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. And they want to, you know, do all these things, meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex and gambling. They want to do those things. In previous ages, you know, like for example, right, you know, up until when Krishna left, around that time when Kali Yuga started, when Krishna after Krishna left, so there was powerful kings like Yudhisthira, and then Yudhisthira and the other Pandavas retired and to go back to Godhead, and they left Parikshit, who's there in the Bhagavatam. It said those kind of kings up until Parikshit, if you wanted to do, you know, meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, they'll kill you. They'll just kill you. And it wasn't allowed. But, you know, Kali Yuga is giving freedom, you know, for people that really want to do those things. They can do it then. That's the time. You can't do those things in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. You'll immediately be killed. And people don't even have an interest to do those things in the other ages as well.
I'm sure there is a
But
you know, every yuga was there, like, you know, okay, prostitution and like you have a drinking and all the things a different way, but it's like even all our scripture says that back in Sat Yuga, don't lie, don't cheat, don't drink. It means there was the things there. That's why it's written in the Vedas.
No, I mean in Satyuga there was none of those things in Satyuga. I agree what you're saying to a certain point, because even if someone wanted to gamble or drink something, it's under rules and regulations. There's rules and regulations. They have to do a sacrifice if they want to drink liquor. They have to do a sacrifice if they want to eat meat. So there was very few people that did it because it's complicated. It's not easy. And that was the whole point. Why you have to do a sacrifice to do those things is to make it difficult like that. So yeah, it was completely different than now. Now it's out of hand. Now it's like everyone eats meat, everyone drinks, everyone gets their lotto tickets and everything like that, and has illicit sex. And but in previous ages it was under strict rules and regulations, so it was quite different. Like the Kshatriyas could eat meat, but they'd have to kill it themselves. Who does that now? Everyone goes to buys it from the supermarket, from the slaughterhouse. Previously there was no slaughterhouses. There was 0 slaughterhouses before Kali Yuga. 0. If you wanted to eat meat, you go and kill it yourself in the forest. You go out like that, and it said, like, once a month on Amavas, it's a dark moon night, there was an allowance. If you want to kill a goat or something, you could do that. And then you have to chant a mantra in its ear. You have to chant a mantra in its ear just before you slit its throat with a sharp knife, that now I'm killing you, in future you're going to get a body that can kill me. So what idea are you going to get from doing that sacrifice? That this is not good. This is not good. I was talking with a hunter just a few days ago, and I told him, that there is karma like that. He said, "Oh no, I got really bad karma. I killed so many animals." And like that. So, and I said, that after this life, the animal can get the human body, and you'll get the animal body, and the role will be reversed, and it will have a chance to kill you. And he was like freaking out. So I was trying to give him some prasadam to free him from all those things. But yeah, and Jointy made some quiche, and but he said he spat it out because it was too spicy for him. It was hardly any spice. But he's obviously, just so sinful, he can't even eat prasadam. He just like spat it out. To him it didn't taste good. To us it tastes like, wow, this is like amazing. But to him, because of so many sinful reactions, he couldn't even enjoy the prasadam. Just like went in his mouth and he spat it right out again. And so that's the situation. And Kali Yuga, people just engage in all these abominable, activities like that, very sinful activities. But so that's not a creation of God, it's our creation, you see. So I mean, God has, you could say, created it, but why did he create it? Not because he wants to create it, but because we want to live like that. We want to live a godless life, be a debauchee and do anything. Come closer.
Of the past time, where
Come closer so they can hear, because I don't want to repeat.
2018. No.
Huh? Can you hear her?
No.
No. Okay, come on.
Reminds
Because it's
me
not
of
fair.
that past. My pants. Reminds me of that past time where Prabhupada, or is it Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, I'm not sure, who's saying that they make a pickle out of a rat, and for those people it's very delicious. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So she's talking about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada's guru, had some disciples going out preaching in some Southeast Asian country. I'm not exactly sure, Thailand or Philippines or something like that. They were preaching there, and Burma or something, and they were staying with other karmis, materialists were around them, the brahmacharis that were out preaching. They were staying in some apartment or whatever. And they would cook their nice prasadam with ghee and everything like that. And the neighbors were complaining, oh, what's this obnoxious smell? Horrible smell. It was just, things cooked in ghee. But to them, it was like horrible. And what these guys would do, the local people, whatever died in the area, they had one pot full of oil, and they just dropped the dead thing in the pot, and they just keep dropping whatever dies in there, and then just leave that for some months until it festers nicely, gets nice and rotten and everything, and then they would use it as like a pickle to put with their food. So it just
Oh, that's
shows,
awful.
completely opposite. Completely opposite. For what the devotees are enjoying, the non-devotees find it like disgusting. And whatever the non-devotees are enjoying, the devotees feel it's like disgusting. And that's because the devotees are in mode of goodness, sattva gun, and the non-devotees are in the tamagun and rajagun, ignorance and passion like that. So yeah, completely opposite lives. But yeah, we can't blame Krishna for Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is because, well, why are we in Kali Yuga? Because this is what we wanted, to live in a time where there's no rules.
All the these souls from Treta, Dwapar, and all who did their sinful activities, or then he just collect all that, and they says you have to be have a birth in Kali Yuga. Is it? Put it all
Well,
together and
yeah, well, I mean, some of those will be, but not necessarily. Yeah, I mean, you see, there's souls coming up from the lower species of life to human life, right? And there's souls coming down. Well, I mean, they were humans before and they become again human in Kali Yuga. And there's also souls coming down from heaven. They're coming down from heaven. They're 10,000 years in heaven, that time's run out. Then they got to come back to earth. And if it just happens that 10,000 years runs out and it's Kali Yuga, well, tough luck. Like that. So there's some souls coming up from lower species to humans, some coming down from heaven, some, that were human and whatever you said, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and they didn't get liberated then, so they have to keep, taking birth. So they're coming from all different ways. And even from other planets. So don't just think, there's reincarnation going on within this one planet. There's, so many planets, and it might be taking birth from one planet to another planet, even like that. And so there's a lot of things going on.
Hey, does Kali Yuga also like give the fallen people the opportunity to get liberation easier than the other yugas
Very
as
good.
well? Like,
Yeah, very good. You
yeah.
brought that up. So I presenting the negative side of Kali Yuga, but the positive side of Kali Yuga, as Bhakti Amala has pointed out, is actually very positive. And this one good thing overrides all the bad things. There's so many bad things, but the one good thing is simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, Harinam Sankirtan, which is the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga, then you can get completely liberated in one life, which is extraordinary. And in previous yugas, it's a lot harder to get liberated, and often it would take many lifetimes. Slowly, you can progress and eventually get liberated. But in Kali Yuga, if you just chant the holy name of the Lord, you can get liberated in one life. You don't have to come life after life, and you don't have to stand on one leg and press your nose, for 50,000 years in the forest, or do big, fire sacrifices and chant lots of mantras and build big temples for Vishnu and worship, very opulent worship like that. So in Satya Yuga, it's all the meditation, the forest, great austerities, fasting, and so many things. For like Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana, before he became purified enough to write the Ramayana, he did austerities in the forest for 60,000 years. He actually, before that, he was a very sinful hunter. But by the mercy of Narada Muni, his spiritual master, he became purified after performing austerities for 60,000 years. Because at that time, they lived for 100,000 years. That's how he could do it for so long. Because the lifespan in Satya Yuga is 100,000 years. In Treta Yuga, they live for 10,000 years, and Dwapara Yuga, 1,000 years. So then in Treta Yuga, there's fire sacrifices, and then Dwapara Yuga, temple worship. Very difficult processes and long time and everything like that. But in Kali Yuga, people are not qualified to do anything difficult. We don't have the intelligence or the wealth or strength or anything to do much. But about all we can do is chant, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Which doesn't mean just because this process is for the bottom of the barrel people, it doesn't mean that it's the bottom of the barrel process. It's actually the holy name is always the best. The holy name is the highest thing. It doesn't mean it's a worse process than meditation or sacrifices or temple worship. No, it's always the holy name is always there. It's not only the holy name is available in Kali Yuga. It was there also in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. But it means people could do other things. Whereas now we can't do other things. Whether you want to or not, we can't do them. And there's only one thing left. And this holy name is so merciful to the, unqualified, sinful people of Kali Yuga. So merciful. Especially after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. He's so kind, and he's freely distributing the holy name to even very unqualified people like that. But yeah, I was just saying, so yeah, it's not that Maya's working against Krishna's plan or Kali Yuga is working against Krishna's plan. They're out of control or whatever. God lost control. So not like what the Christians say. That's not correct like that. But this is all part of Krishna's plan, that there's a illusory energy, Maya, and that there's Kali Yuga and all these things. That's part of his plan. And this is all for our correction, just like the punishment in a prison. Well, why have a prison? You just throw people away there and let them rot. No, the idea is to correct them, right? The idea is that they suffer in the prison and they repent. They feel repentant. Oh, I wish I hadn't robbed the bank or, raped or killed this person. I wish I never did that. I'm never going to do it again. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Like that, I'm going to be an honest person from now on. So the idea is that through punishment and suffering, that we become repentant and we change our ways. Okay, I'm going to become a good citizen from now on. And as soon as, you're ready to become a good, honest citizen again, then the prisoner can get let out and he can go back in society again. Yeah, I met this Maori guy. He spent like, I think more than 20 years in prison for different things he did. And he's out now, and he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. But so obviously being in prison worked well for him. But he said when he was young, yeah, he was a real rebel, you know. They used to just him and his mates go into a bank with guns and do a hold them up, hand over the money, come on. They used to tie people up and put them in the safe and that. And then but they're real soft-hearted guys, so they'd pull down what do you call it when you tie the stuff around their mouth so they can't scream out, help, help. But they'd pull, what do you call it? Gag. Yeah, gag. They'd pull in the gag and say, oh, here, do you want this juice? Do you want to have some juice? So they were like, soft-hearted bank robbers like that. But eventually they got put away. But here's a lovely guy. You'd never guess like that. But he just needed a bit of purification, a bit of suffering to purify him like that. So there is a purpose. There's
20 years in prison, he could have gone the other way and gotten really bad, though, couldn't he? With
true.
the
I mean, because free choice is
association.
there. You don't have
Yeah.
to become repentant. But that's the plan, though. The plan in the prison is that, through that suffering, they'll become repentant and that. But sure, if they really, toughen up, then they're never going to, feel sorry about what they did and realize they stuffed up and like that. They could just become angry. You might, in that scenario, you could just go the other way and, oh, I hate all these people trying to control me and blah, 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 like that. So that's there too. Yeah. And to such people like that, then, yeah.
There's so much violence at the moment. It's just getting really out of control, like I don't watch the news that much, but every time I go on, there's just something just shocking, like
Well,
it's
Bhakti
just
Mala, I've been
getting,
telling you for years that it's going to collapse, but you don't believe me. So Krishna has to put it on the TV for you to believe, because you're not
oh my
believing me.
God.
I
It's
tell you
really,
it's going to collapse.
I know, and you can feel it it's just all building up, it's getting worse and worse. Like
Exactly.
these exchange students from
Yeah.
China the other day, a 13-year-old girl stabs the 14-year-old girl they were staying in Newcastle,
Wow.
exchange students, and killed her.
Yeah.
And it's just getting like out of control, like especially
Yeah.
all the young kids, they're all so angry and they're doing all this violence and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
really quite scary.
But according
Yeah.
to Bhagavad Gita, still 427,000 years to go.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
there, but I've been telling you that
collapse.
within Kali Yuga, there's a 10,000 year golden age, which was initiated by Lord Chaitanya, right? The Harinam Sankirtan movement, the Yuga Dharma. But that can't manifest. That mini golden age can't manifest while this horrible materialistic society is going full on. So what the Lord has to do is collapse it. Is to collapse it. So that then people will, okay, I surrender. Okay, I'll chant Hare Krishna now, take prasadam and shave my head. So then through that, the calamities and everything will force people to take to it. Because at the moment, people are so enamored, sucked in by materialistic society. Everyone's glued to their phone like that. They're not even aware, that we're chanting Hare Krishna and reading Bhagavad Gita because they're so just lost in Maya, going to the mall and, buying some new gadgets they don't even need and, running after money and the skyscrapers and everything like that. So, Krishna will bring it down. Krishna will pull down the skyscraper, and we've seen, even big tsunamis and earthquakes and that just smashing cities, so we've been given the opportunity to just chant and be happy. But okay, you didn't want to chant and be happy. Well, I'll, finish all your nonsense. So then you will chant and be happy like that. So there's that this materialistic society is like an obstacle for this golden age of Lord Chaitanya to manifest. So Lord Chaitanya is just going to bring it down. So Prabhupada predicted it. Many great saints predicted these kind of things will happen, that modern society will collapse. And then, but after 10,000 years of this Harinam Sankirtan movement, which started 500 years ago, then it's back to Kali Yuga again. Back to Kali Yuga again. But there's this little window of hope and mercy that we can get out of here, go back to Godhead for these fallen souls of Kali Yuga, due to the mercy of Lord Chaitanya coming like that. And so this will happen. This is also part of the Lord's plan, this mini golden age within Kali Yuga. That's part of the Lord's plan. So that will happen. But the transition, whenever there's a transition of different ages, whenever you change between Satya and Treta and Dwapara and Kali, or even like now this mini golden age within Kali, it's quite transitions are always a bit of turmoil like that. Any kind of transition, any kind of changes. Isn't it like even like for Gulshan, right? Even just changing your home, right? From you had in a house and you've changed to a van. I'm sure there was a bit of turmoil there, right? Or you've changed from being in Newcastle, now you're in this another place like the Mackay. Anytime you make some changes, then it's a bit of a shock. So going from this Kali Yuga to the Golden Age is also going to be a shock like that. Actually, they say one of the most they have a list of things that create the most stress and fear in life, and number one is the death of a family member. Number two is a divorce, I think. And number three is moving house. Moving house is like number three. So it's right up there. It's like it's difficult, all these changes like that. It makes it difficult for us. But for a Krishna conscious person, it should be easier. Like for Gulshan, he's just powered through the move because he's Krishna conscious like that. And we went through a divorce and we got through that, not scathed too much. A lot of people commit suicide and stuff like that. But we didn't do that, because Krishna conscious, kept us going through that. So also this transition of, modern materialistic society collapsing, if you're Krishna conscious, you can get through it. And if you're not, you may not get through it like that. So difficult, very difficult. But, Krishna's watching and testing, and this is part of the test, and, just to see what we're made of. And, but it's exciting. We can't wait to get to the other side because it's going to be super good for spreading Krishna consciousness. Super good after the materialistic society collapses. Can imagine when the young kids don't have their mobile phones anymore, they're going to have nothing to do except for chanting Hare Krishna. No more supermarkets, all this kind of stuff. They have to grow their own food. Have to live a simple life, grow their own food, and chant Hare Krishna like that. Prabhupada told his disciples, because he knew, he said, you will see in your lifetime, there will be a day when thousands of people are lining up to our farms. He said that 50 years ago. So obviously he wasn't talking too far ahead because he said it's in your disciples' lifetime. With thousands of people lining up to the farms. And that's all I heard about that pastime, but I heard something more about it, which I didn't know before. And he gave the reason why there'd be thousands of people lining up to the farms. Not just because they're just suddenly become transcendentally realized and thinking, yeah, we should, farm life is better than city life. No, Prabhupada said because of unemployment. He said because of unemployment. There'll be no more work in the cities. No more cities. No more cities, no more work in the cities. Just people will be forced to go to the farms and looking for an alternative because the city alternative won't be an alternative at a certain point. It won't be an alternative. And even we see that now. I mean, we've gone through the what is it called? The industrial age. Now we're going through we've entered the computer age. And the next one is all this, robots and stuff and AI and robots and stuff. And man, that's going to put a lot of people out of work. That's going to put a hell of a lot of people out of work, these robots and AI. So what are these people going to do when they all lose their jobs because the bloody robot's doing it? Gulshan won't have to worry about cleaning because the robots are better at cleaning. Gulshan will be happy about the robots because they'll do all the cleaning for you.
I wouldn't worry to drive in the Uber. It'll be a driverless cars.
Yeah, that's right. There'll be a driverless car. So Gulshan will be out of a job and he won't have any cleaning to do. And they also cook as well, be cooking as well. So he won't do any cooking. So yeah, there's not going to be much work left, like that. And so yeah, Prabhupada predicted there'll be thousands of people coming to the farms because there's no more jobs. No more jobs. So he could foresee that. And now it's happening in front of our eyes. Happening in front of our eyes like that.
What
So
were you
devotees should have
talking
been
about in 2031 or something? You mentioned 2031 the other week.
astrologically 2030 and 31 is a worldwide war. And then the golden age really kicks in after that. So if you're still alive and around 32, then it's going to be a good time for preaching. So going to be a really good time for preaching, but you just have to.
7 years away.
What's that?
7 years. Yeah, 2032 is 7 years away, is it?
Yeah, correct.
Should be, or 5-7 years is like you can. Yeah, of course we'll be here.
Of course you'll be here. Well, are you realizing what's going to be happening as the collapse?
Well, wait and see.
Happens more. It's going to be. Anyway, you're in your van. You can move around, but yeah, you can just get out of the city.
Yeah, but it's whatever Krishna throw around. Yes, welcome.
Yeah. And as Prabhupada also pointed out, we just read a conversation, Prabhupada's talking about it. He said in wartime, the bombs are always dropped on the cities. They don't drop them on the farms. So, yeah, cities are going to be really horrible place during the wartime. And as we've seen, like in, Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Iran and all these places,
could be worried.
that they drop all the bombs in the cities and blow up the hospitals and the universities and all these things.
What's that? Worry about that? Or if
no, you don't worry about it, but you have to be conscious of it. You have to be aware of it. If you're not aware of it, you'll be dead, which is no big deal because, the soul goes on. But, it is a big deal in one sense because there's no guarantee, where we're going to turn up like that again. You might turn up again after the golden age is over, and then you're stuffed up big time because in Kali Yuga, really, and there's Prabhupada said after the golden age in Kali Yuga, after the golden age, there's no more Sankirtan movement. No devotee association, no prasadam, no holy name, no Bhagavad Gita, nothing. So you really want to get out of here sooner than later. Sooner is better than later. And Prabhupada always said, and all the acharyas said, just take to Krishna consciousness seriously in this lifetime. Make this your last birth. Don't think, oh, I can just come back again. No, don't think like that. We should try to get out of here in this one lifetime. Take this very seriously. And so yeah, we shouldn't take it that we're going to become afraid of war and all this kind of stuff. No, but we should take it that we should just make some plans to try to sustain ourselves through that. And the way that Prabhupada said, that's very common sense. Just go on some land and grow your own food and like that, live a simple life independent from the city, not depending on the karmis, materialistic people for anything. We have everything that we need. We don't depend on anyone else for our basic needs like that. And then that's a lot better. So yeah. Okay, anyway, let's talk about today's verse, text 31. Let's read the Sanskrit. Shipram bhavati dharmatma.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma.
Shashvat chantim nagachati.
Shashvaschante nigachate.
Kunteya pratijanihi
Kunteya pratijanihi.
name bhakta pranashyati.
Name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly become righteous and attain lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perish.
Famous, famous. Especially the last sentence, the last line.
Why didn't he?
Prabhupada said this
Why didn't
many
Krishna
times.
himself? Why did he say, "Son of Kunti, you declare it"? Why can't
Yeah,
he declare?
exactly. Good point. Good question. That's your thinking. Very well. Why didn't Krishna just say it himself? Why did he ask Arjuna?
Yeah.
Because sometimes Krishna breaks his promise. So he's not going to promise because people won't believe him, because sometimes he breaks his promise.
People do believe in Krishna. How can people not believe in Krishna? Come on.
Yeah, because Krishna, he said on one occasion that he wasn't going to fight in the Battle of Kurukshetra. He promised not to fight. But he broke his promise. He fought. But the interesting thing is why he broke his promise.
Because he wants to keep the Bhishma's promise. Bhishma said,
Correct.
"I want you to fight."
He said
And he said,
Bhishma's promise
"Oh,
was, I'll either kill Arjuna
or
or get
you."
Krishna to fight.
Yes.
And then also Bhishma was about to kill Arjuna. And Krishna
Yes.
realized, if I don't do something, Arjuna is over. Time out.
Yes.
So
Bhishma
then
was
he
very
picked
powerful.
up that broken, fallen chariot wheel and he ran at Bhishma to attack him with that chariot wheel. So yeah, so people think that, sometimes Krishna will break his promise. But the interesting thing is, like I said, why does he break it? For the sake of his devotee. That is indicating to us, and which is actually a glorious quality of Krishna. It's not actually a bad thing that, Krishna's broken his promise. It's actually adds to Krishna's glories. How does Krishna breaking his promise add to Krishna's glories? Because it just shows that his love for his devotees, affection for his devotees, is more important to him than even his own promise. And I'll tell you, like any cultured person, their word of honor is very important. Their promise, their word is very essential. But Krishna loves his devotees even more than himself. Everyone loves themselves, right? I'm a man of honor. I give my word of honor and everything like that. But Krishna puts his devotees even ahead of himself. So this is like the best quality of Krishna, Bhakta Vatsalya, that he's so affectionate to his devotees. He will never let his devotees down, even if he has to break his own promise. He will protect his devotees like that. But so Krishna might break his promise, but the devotee's promise is never broken. Like Bhishma made the promise, Krishna kept it. Why is it that a devotee's promise is never broken? Because Krishna will keep it. That's how much he loves his devotees. That Krishna will make sure whatever the devotee says come true. So Krishna has so much love for his devotees. Whatever they say, that will happen. They'll never be vanquished or perish like that. Krishna will always protect them and uplift them. It's like, Nrsimhadev protected Prahlad Maharaj, so there's so many pastimes. Krishna protected the Pandavas. So many times the Pandavas were going to be killed. And every time Krishna arranged that they were going to be protected like that. So even Prabhupada had the heart attacks, right? 2 heart attacks on the ship, the Jaladuta, to America. When he was having those heart attacks, Prabhupada had a dream he had a dream around that time that he had a dream that Krishna and all the previous acharyas had come there to the boat and were helping the boat to cross the ocean like that. So Krishna, protected Prabhupada from that terrible situation. Actually, the Jaladura's captain mentioned he's never had such a smooth trip across the Atlantic Ocean as the time he was carrying Prabhupada on the boat. Normally, it's much more rougher.
But I think God helped those who help themselves, because I was watching one documentary in 1918. There was a ship went to Antarctica, and they stuck in there. Back in those days, there was no digital system to contact back to America. They were stayed there for 400 days, 418 days, but they didn't give up. And there was the ocean was in between, it was very rough, and they tried to come back there. And then people in America, they think, man, the ship is gone, man. It just went the Bermuda Triangle, and the Bermuda Triangle are in between. And the documentary was that, watch it, and there was a true, actually, 1918, and that was named Wilkinson. So he did not give up, and then Krishna protect him, and he, with around 27 people on the boat, on the ship, come back safe on the land. But it took 400 days. So much rough sea, and then Antarctica is the snow and everything there, nothing to eat. Food has been finished. They were eating seals and the penguins and all that. But who protect them? Krishna. But they were not Krishna conscious. They were like just a average person. So, but Krishna protect him 400 days, but they did not give up. We want to go to a homeland, and they did.
Yeah, well, as we've talked about before, there's 5 factors of action that's mentioned in the 18th chapter, 5 factors. So one factor, like you're pointing out, your effort. You said man proposes, God disposes. So your effort, that's one factor. But the final factor is God factor. Whether it said if God wants to protect you, no one can kill you. And if God wants to kill you, no one can protect you. It's like Hiranyakashipu. He had all the benedictions from Brahma that no one could kill him. But Nrsimhadev bypassed it all and still killed him. And once again, Nrsimhadev kept the promise of Lord Brahma. He could have just killed him anyway, but he kept the promises of Lord Brahma intact. So without breaking Lord Brahma's promises, he still killed him like that.
So he saved that regardless you are devotee or not devotee. The one Deepa just sent that one video. The guy wanted to be hop on the plane, but he missed the plane, and the plane has been crashed. He was not devotee. He was not a believer or anything there, but Krishna protect him. So Krishna protect whether devotee or not devotee. It's a lot of cases there.
Well, I mean, ultimately, right? Ultimately, everyone's a devotee, right? But we've some people have remembered that they're a devotee, and some people are still in forgetfulness that we're a devotee. But like I said, Krishna doesn't usually interfere if you're not Krishna conscious. So if you're not Krishna conscious, it's probably just your own karma. Your own karma is working mostly.
Is Krishna biased?
What's that?
Krishna is biased. Like if you're a devotee, you be in the different category. If you're not a devotee, you're in a different category.
Of course. We read that just a couple verses ago, and text 29. Text 29. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me and devotion as a friend is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So Krishna does give special treatment to a devotee. But like I explained when we were discussing that verse, that's not wrong that Krishna's giving special treatment, because the devotee is depending on Krishna. The devotee is saying, I need you, Krishna. I'm helpless without you. I can't do anything. I'm insignificant. I'm useless. I can't get out of this world without your help and your mercy. Please save me. So the devotee wants the Lord's help, and the Lord just reciprocates. But the non-devotee says that there is no God. I am God. I don't need God. I am strong. I am intelligent. I'm powerful. Everything. So God sees that, well, he doesn't need me, so I won't help him. So that's completely fair. He's just reciprocating with us.
So
If
those
you
miracles,
want him, okay, he'll be there for you. If you don't want him, he'll never be there for you. Is that his partiality? No. That's because of our attitude. And we read that from chapter 4, text 11, very famous verse. Yayatama prapadyante. As you surrender unto him, he rewards you accordingly. So he's just reciprocating with our attitude, with our surrender. Does that make sense? But yeah, if you're Krishna conscious, if you're a devotee, he gets involved in your life. But if you're not, then it's probably just your own karma and everything. You were destined to not die at that time like that. So you missed the plane, because it wasn't. There was one guy, right? One guy on the plane. He got tossed out.
walked
He
away.
walked away. He just walked away.
Yeah.
That Air India one.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
walked out.
Yes.
He actually literally walked out of the plane
How
that
that
everyone
happened?
else got incinerated in. He
Yeah.
just walked away, and he
Yeah.
just called up someone on his phone or whatever. So it just wasn't his time. It was his time to get a shake up. I mean, you can't get a bigger shake up than that. So he had to go through that, terrible situation. And actually, his brother was on the plane. His brother died. So,
And he was
that was his karma too, that he had to suffer, the death of his brother, watching all these people get incinerated, but not die. And yet other people, they were all brought together. They all had that karma where they were destined to die that day. So Krishna brought them all together and killed them all at one go,
except
just
him.
in
Yeah.
one go. Like Krishna 5,000 years ago brought all those kings together at Kurukshetra and just
That's
wiped them off.
right.
It's called collective karma. You have your individual karma, and then you've got collective karma. So, somebody collect them all together, and then tsunami, earthquake, hurricane, whatever like that.
And
Together.
COVID.
COVID or whatever, yeah.
That's right.
But yeah. So in text 30, it said that so even if a devotee does some wrong things, some sinful things, basically that verse is saying, don't take it too seriously, even they do some abominable things, wrong things, then he's still to be considered a saint, in good standing. So, and we might think, how the hell does that happen? Even the devotee he falls down, does wrong things, but he's still to be considered he's doing all right. And this verse explains why. Because he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. So even now, what we're seeing, even a devotee falls down and they've engaged in some sinful activity, although, like I said, not on purpose, but by accident, and they've accidentally fallen down and everything. But don't, Chris is saying, don't worry about it. It's still in a good position. And this verse says that because he's going to become righteous, that means he's going to come back up again, even though he's slipped over, fallen over. Like a little kid on a bike, right? He might fall off the bike, but he gets the bike and picks it up and gets on it again, and then he continues. So Chris is saying here, don't worry about the devotee falling down, because he's going to come back up. And how he's going to come back up is because Krishna helps him. So what's the difference between a devotee committing a sinful activity and a non-devotee committing a sinful activity? Krishna will help the devotee to come back up out of that sinful activity. But Krishna's not there for the non-devotee. So when the non-devotee commits a sinful activity, and Krishna's not there to help him, because he doesn't want that help, remember? So then he has to sort it out himself. And he's not going to be able to sort it out himself. And then he's going to just stay down. He's not going to be able to get up. So that's the big difference between a devotee and a non-devotee that have fallen down into sinful life, is that Krishna helps the devotee to come up, and the non-devotee doesn't get any help, and he can never get up. So when the non-devotee is engaged in sinful activity, you may criticize him that, yeah, you are a rascal, you're a sinful rascal, but a devotee shouldn't do that. The devotee falls, you're a sinful rascal. No, he's not, because Krishna's going to help him, because Krishna appreciates whatever service he's done. Oh yeah, for 10 years he went out in Harinam, he distributed prasadam, he distributed some books, he worshipped the deity, he helped build this temple, he helped start a preaching center, and then sure, he's stuffed up or whatever, but Krishna, appreciates all that service he did, and Krishna's going to help him. And also that devotee feels bad what he did, and Krishna helped me, and Krishna will help him. But the non-devotee doesn't get any of that help. He doesn't have all that credit, spiritual credit in his account, and Krishna hasn't been conquered by all of his devotional service, because Krishna becomes conquered by his devotees, loving service, and he tries to reciprocate. And this is part of his reciprocation. Whenever the devotee gets in any difficulty, in any trouble, any problem, Krishna will be there. Krishna will be there for them. And like we mentioned from text 29, Krishna's saying that in that verse that anyone who renders devotional service to me is a friend, is in me. So, and as I mentioned, what is the real quality of a friend? The real quality of as a friend is when you are down, when you have difficulty, the friend will be there to help you, isn't it?
Friend indeed.
Yeah, friend in need is a friend indeed. So that's the real test of the quality of the friendship. So then Krishna is always there when the devotee's in difficulty to help the devotee come out of that difficulty like that. And
true,
you might say, well, why the hell does Krishna put the devotee in difficulty if he's just going to pull him out of the difficulty? But why did he put them in the difficulty in the first place? If he's just going to, but through the difficulty, actually, that's good for our Krishna consciousness, the difficulty, because that's when your prayer takes another level. That's when your calling out takes another level. That's when you're desperately feeling helpless and lost and wretched, causes you to really call out from the bottom of your heart, Krishna, help me, save me. That doesn't happen if things are always going all right. I'm doing all right, I'm doing all right, I'm doing all right, I'm doing all right. Then that kind of quality won't come out, like that. But when you get, stuck in the mud, then Krishna, I need you. So that actually accelerates the devotee's intensity of his love and feelings for Krishna. When I got bitten by a dog, then I went through some suffering, but within a few minutes a devotee that wasn't supposed to be there came and picked me up in his car and took me to the hospital. And then that was so a big boost for my faith, and that devotee also, his faith, because when I said, why did you come? He said, there was a voice in my heart said, Abhai's in trouble, go find Abhai. So that devotee would have got a boost in his faith that, well, Krishna's in my heart speaking to me. And then I got more faith that Krishna's in all of our hearts and communicating between like that. and Krishna rescued me. So when you're in a really difficult situation and you get rescued, then what do you feel? You know, it's like that princess, right? She's about to, you know, be stolen away by some rascal or whatever, and the knight in shining armor comes in and whisks her up and puts her on the back of the horse and takes her away. How does she feel? She feels it was terrible what happened, but then she feels so good because she's been rescued. So, you know, it just increases the devotee's love. You know, like Rukmini, right, was going to get married to Shishupal. And then Krishna, at the last moment, just before she was going to get married, the person she didn't want to marry, just at the last moment, Krishna comes in and like whisks her away on his chariot. And how did she feel about Krishna after that? It just her love that she already had just went off the Richter scale. It just went through the roof, you know, like that. You know, the devotees in Vrindavan are just about to be surrounded by a forest fire and burnt. And then Krishna just breathes in and sucks up the whole fire. How are you going to feel? So, can you imagine how painful it is to be burnt alive? And if someone saves you from being burnt alive, how are you going to feel towards them?
Right.
Another occasion, you know, Indra is drowning everyone in Vrindavan with all that rain, and Krishna just lifts up a mountain and holds it like an umbrella. How are you going to feel? And for 7 days, he's protecting you like that. How are you going to feel? Or, you go in the Yamuna and because it's poisoned by Kalya, you just die. And then Krishna just glances over you, brings you back to life. You know, how are you going to feel? You know, so Krishna arranges that sometimes the devotees do get put into very difficult situations, only to shortly after come and like be the knight in shining armor and rescue them. Because actually, we're an eternal soul. We don't die. There's nothing really bad that can happen to us, actually, in real truth. There's nothing, all these things, and nothing can really happen. But what's really happening is that it's increasing the love between the devotee and Krishna is increased by that. When Krishna's rescuing the devotee. What do they call it? In the 11th hour, just at the last minute. I think there's a saying about that, isn't it? The 11th hour? Just at the very last point. I'll have to look up what that is, but there's some saying about the 11th hour. And the last minute, that means it's in the last minute. That's like in the movies, right? It gets really exciting. You think the guy's going to die, and the last minute something saves him, and people get all excited. It looks like the hero's going to die, and then somehow he miraculously escapes death like that. So Krishna's arranging that, and it's really thrilling for the devotees' Krishna consciousness. Okay. Bhakti Mala, do you want to read the purport?
Yeah. Can you hear me properly? Am I cutting out?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay. This should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee, due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations.
Yes, so Prabhupada starts off the purport, continuing on from the last one. That's why he's saying, this should not be misunderstood. So why does he start the purport saying this should not be misunderstood? Because the last one is saying that even if a devotee does some abominable sinful thing, he's still to be considered a saint. So Prabhupada's saying this should not be misunderstood. And saying that, and then he's saying in the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. So when we were talking about text 30, I showed you that verse in the 7th chapter. We can look at it again briefly. That's 28.
728?
Yeah, 728.
A person who have acted piously in previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated or freed from the duality of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
Yeah, so someone that's engaged in devotional service with determination, they're pious and they're not sinful. So Prabhupada's pointing that out here. There's not to be misunderstood that a devotee is just habituated to engaging in sinful activities. No, a devotee means they've stopped sinful activities and they're engaged in pious activities. And the most pious activity is chanting Hare Krishna. That's the most pious activity. So devotees doing the most pious activity, chanting Hare Krishna, and to stop sinful activities, like, we promise, right? No meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. So that's what a devotee is very pious and they're not sinful. And then because of that, because we're pious and not sinful, then we can take to, devotional service. So Prabhupada just wants to make it clear that the devotee's habit is not to just be engaging in sinful things, sinful activities. That's not what a devotee is. If we see what appears to be a devotee just continually engaging in sinful activities, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? If you see what appears to be a devotee is continually engaging in sinful activities, what does that tell you?
You falling down?
No,
If
he's not a devotee. They're not a devotee.
They're not devotee, yeah.
They're not a devotee.
If the devotee is, yeah, so they're not a devotee, okay.
They're not a devotee. And Prabhupada says this, after that he says, one who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. And just before that he said, one who is engaged in mischievous activities, mischievous means sinful, cannot become a devotee of the Lord. And then one who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. So do you get that?
What
If you're
about
engaged in sinful activities, you're not a devotee. That's what he says. And if you're not a devotee, you don't have any good qualities.
those verses, Paper Boo, that say, I don't remember what chapter it is, but he gives different levels of, you know, if you can't follow the regular principles or whatever,
Yeah,
then
that's the 12th chapter. Yeah.
Work for me. So he gives all different levels, like, but somebody might be sort of engaged in devotional service, but they can't chant or they can't read or they can't follow the regular principles. Wouldn't they still be a devotee though? Like, because they're devoting their, because I know a lot of people.
Well, I mean, like the end of the purport to 30, right? It said, if he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be considered, as to be understood that he is not a high devotee. So yeah, I mean, there are different levels of devotee. You've got high devotee, and what is the opposite of not a high devotee? A low devotee. You know, so you got a high devotee, a middle devotee, and a low devotee, you know, like that, and then a not a devotee. You know, so yeah, there's different levels. You're right.
Okay.
There's different levels. And you know, in that 12th chapter, what you're referring to, it starts from, I think, around text 9 or something like that, 9 or 10. Then in the 12th chapter, it says the highest thing, we can look at that. 12th chapter, it's around 10 or something. Starts 9. Yeah, 8. Starts at 8. So this is the highest level of a devotee.
Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt.
You know, and that's what Krishna conscious means, right? You're always conscious of Krishna. And conscious of Krishna means thinking of Krishna. So one who is always thinking of Krishna, always Krishna conscious. So that's the highest. And then if you can't do that, next one.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulatory principle of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
And that's what most of us in ISKCON are on that level. You know, following the, you know, regulated principles. But we're not always thinking of Krishna. Most of us, probably not on that platform. So, but we're on this platform where we're following the regulated principles. And then he says, if you can't do that, see, Krishna is very broad-minded. You know, he can accommodate everyone, whatever level they're on. So if you're the completely pure devotee, always think of Krishna, you know, he's got something for you. And if you're not on that level of pure love yet, full love, but you're just following the rules of your guru, you know, it's something for them. And if you can't even follow the rules of the guru, there's something. So what does it say?
If you cannot practice the regulation of Bhakti Yoga, then you just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Yeah, so this means like someone like they're not following all the no meeting, intoxication, illicit gambling, 16 rounds, but they'll clean the temple toilets or mow the grass around the temple or help build something for the temple or drive the Sankirtan vehicle for the book distributors, drive the Sankirtan car or fix it, you know, fix the Sankirtan car, whatever. So they just do some work.
Devotee, though. They're still classified as a devotee, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but not the same level as that following their regulated principles. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one, if you can't even work for Krishna.
Yeah. It's the next one is, if, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all the results your work and try to be self-situated.
Yeah, so you work in an IT job or in a factory, an office like that, you're a mechanic or whatever, and you give some of the money to some or to Krishna consciousness, give some of the money to Krishna consciousness, or at least just give it to somebody else, and not for you. It's just so to work without the results. And give the results to Krishna, or even if you can't give it to Krishna, give it to somebody else so that you're not just enjoying it just for yourself. And then if you can't do that, Krishna's still going, okay, we'll get something out of you.
It's if you cannot take this practice, and then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of actions. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind.
So that was the previous verse, renouncing the fruits. So renouncing the fruits, and then if you can't renounce the fruits, then he says meditation. Meditation, yes. That's the next best. And if you can't meditate, then cultivate knowledge. That's the lowest. That's the lowest. So cultivate knowledge, and better than cultivating knowledge is meditation. And better than meditation is renouncing the fruits of your work. And better than renouncing the fruits of your work is to work for Krishna. And better than working for Krishna is to follow the regulated principles. And better than following regulated principles is to always be thinking of Krishna. So yeah, there's a broad spectrum there. Krishna's very broad-minded. Krishna's very broad-minded like that. And we're all just at different levels. And like I said, that's why there's a Kali Yuga. Because there's souls that are on that level. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and eat, drink, and be merry. So yeah, okay, that's there for them. And if you're just happy to think about Krishna all the time, then you're in Satya Yuga. Then you're in Satya Yuga. All the ones that, fixing their mind on Krishna all the time, you're in Satya Yuga. And like that. So yeah, we're all. And people ask, why, if there's only one God, why is there so many different religions? God, why isn't there just one religion? No, there's not one religion because we're all at different levels. It's not there's different religions because there's many gods. There's only one God. But because we are all on different levels, you've got so many religions. Some religions you're allowed to eat meat. Some religions you're not allowed to eat meat. Some religions there's more renunciation of the fruits of work. There's more meditation, some less. Some very basic, some more elaborate like that. So, the people at different levels. So that's why so many, just like education, right? Primary school, secondary school, tertiary, postgraduate, it's one education, but within one education, there's so many different levels like that. And so did you get that? So if you're continually engaging in sinful activity, like Prabhupada says here, well, you're not a devotee. So then text 30 doesn't apply to that person. Doesn't apply to that person. Text 30 applies to the person that's usually engaged in pious activities and usually not doing sinful activities, but occasionally might slip up due to past bad habits and so forth. That's what text 30 applies for that person. That just due to some accident or just previous bad habits and bad association might just occasionally slip up. But not to someone that's continuously engaged in sinful activities. That's not a devotee. And then that text 30 doesn't apply to them. They're not to be considered a saint. And sometimes these persons engage in sinful activities regularly, and they might look like a devotee, have tilak and sika and wear a dhoti or a sari or whatever like that. But they have bad character, bad behavior like that, continuously. So they're not a devotee. And like Prabhupada says here, then they've got no good qualifications, and they're not going to be like this. You know, my devotee never perishes. They're not going to be getting that, you know, rescued by the Lord. They will perish. Especially if you try to pretend that you're a devotee, but actually in your heart you're a complete materialist, then you're going to get punished. You know, and we mentioned that that's one of the offenses to the holy name. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, then that's nama parad. Then that person becomes an offender. So he's like using Krishna consciousness, using the holy name to get away with his sinful activities. Well, that person is going to be punished very severely like that. And if it's like premeditated, you know, it's like premeditated, all these kind of things. I'll do some bad thing and counteract it by chanting the holy name or doing some good thing. Then this is not progressive at all like that. And
It's
then
funny when I
Yeah.
went to the first went to the farm when you guys were living there, and you give me all this cleaning to do, and everybody that had walked past would say, "Oh, you're cleaning out your heart with cleaning for Krishna." I had like
Yeah.
every person that would walk past me would say the same thing, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why do they keep saying this to me?
Yeah.
But
And that's what
yeah.
this is saying so nice in this verse,
Yeah.
so nicely Prabhupada's saying that this is the difference with a devotee. As soon as you do some devotional service, Krishna moves in your heart and then he purifies your heart. So that's why it's saying, you know, here he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. So how is it possible the devotees who sometimes falls down, but he quickly comes up and attains peace and everything? That's because Krishna in his heart purifies him from within his heart. So that's the difference. And like I said, the non-devotee doesn't get that. Krishna's not going to be purifying the heart of the non-devotee, but he purifies the heart of the, you know, devotee of, you know, and there might be a bit of lust there, a bit of greed there, might a bit of anger there, a bit of envy or whatever like that there. But Krishna will clean that out very soon. So we just have to be patient, you know, we have to be patient. We ourselves have faults and we have to be patient. It's Krishna's going to help clear it out. And others also, if you see some other faults in devotees, you know, that, but Krishna, as long as they're engaging in devotional service, Krishna will help in their heart to clear out like that. And the question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to devotional service have no good qualifications. So he's talking about here the 7th chapter, that's text 15. It's 4 kinds of persons that never surrender to Krishna. 7th chapter, text 15. Time's up. We'll just quickly say about this. Nearly finished anyway. So I'll just tell you so 7:15. So the 4 kinds of persons, demons, it says the demons do not surrender to me. 4 kinds of them. The lowest of mankind, that's the grossly foolish is the first one, that's mudha. And then the lowest of mankind, that's naradhama. And then whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, that's maya parita jnana. And then the demons, asura. So these are 4 kinds of persons, sinful persons that don't surrender. The fools, lowest of mankind, knowledge is stolen by illusion, the demons, like that. So Prabhupada's saying in this purport 931 that those 4 kinds of people, they never can come to devotional service, and if they don't come to devotional service, no good qualifications. This is another confusing one. It's saying, I mean, it's saying in the scripture here that a non-devotee has no good qualifications, but sometimes it seems like they do, isn't it? Like, the person such and such, not a devotee, but they seem like they're really clean. They seem like they've got really nice manners. They seem like they're really humble. They seem like they're really compassionate. And we think, well, it seems like they do have good qualities. They're not a devotee, but it seems like they do have good, but the scriptures say they don't. So why is that? And that's because what looks to be good qualities of a non-devotee, they're on the mental platform. So Prabhupada's referring to this stated in Bhagavad Gita. So there's a verse there that's saying that the non-devotees on the mental platform, manoratena sati davato bahi, the chariot of the mind. So it means you can't trust these qualities in the non-devotee because they're on the mental platform. See, if you're not on the spiritual platform, Krishna consciousness, which is fixed, then you're guaranteed you have to be, there's only one other option, you're on the mental platform. And the thing with a mental platform, it's always changing. I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. So I'll give you an example. Kamsa's doing a very nice thing by taking his sister Devaki and brother-in-law Vasudev to their brother-in-law's house on the wedding night. Very nice, very good quality, very caring, like that. He's taking them on the wedding night. But then he hears that voice from the sky. Ah ha ha, what a fool you are, Kamsa. You don't realize that the eighth child of your sister is going to be the cause of your death. What a rascal, what a fool you are. And then as soon as he hears that, he pulls out his sword, grabs his sister's hair, and is going to chop her head off. So what the hell happened to he's doing such a good thing, taking the, family for that outing like that, and then suddenly turns around to kill her. It's completely opposite. What's that? That's the mental platform. So that's with non-devotees. It appears like they're a really nice person, but they can just change into a serpent, into a snake in 2 seconds. And sometimes, and I'm sure we've all experienced that, how people completely become opposite. It's, Jekyll and Hyde, right? Jekyll and Hyde, so it seems very nice. And then, they become a monster like that. So that's the mental platform. But if someone's truly Krishna conscious, then we can rise above that, rise above that. And then you're always going to be behaving the same, even if you're put into difficulty and you're not getting your sense gratification, but you still maintain the same, good behavior and everything like that. But anyway, that's why you can't trust what seems to be good qualities in a non-devotee, because any second, I mean, like you mentioned, Bhakti Mala, that was it, a 13-year-old girl killed the 14-year-old girl. They were probably best friends the day before. And then just turns around, oh, I don't like you today, and then that's it, time out. So it's just on the mental platform. It means it's not real. It's not a real quality because it's just all on the mental platform, which is very tottering. Mm. But yeah, Krishna's in the heart of the devotee, so it will help the devotee to get out of this, rise above the mental platform and become more fixed on the spiritual platform. Of course, in the beginning of devotional service, we're also a bit mental, and tottering around. But if we continue through chanting and find the process under the guidance of the devotees and that, then we can become more steady. And that's one of the stages in devotional service. It's called nishta. Nishta means fixed or steady. So, and previous to becoming steady is called anatta nivritti. That means all the bad things coming out of the heart. So this is the very long stage in anatta nivritti. It takes a long time. Bhakti Mala's smiling. It takes a long time to get through anatta nivritti, all the rubbish coming out. But like it's saying here, how does all the rubbish come out? Krishna's removing it because he's pleased by our devotional service, our chanting. And like Bhakti Mala was cleaning the floor and I started off washing the pots, so Krishna's cleaning the heart, cleaning all the rubbish out. And then once we go through Anatana Vritti, when all the rubbish is removed, then we can become steady. Then even we're shaken up and down and around in the ringer of the material world, but you won't budge an inch once you become steady like that. And it's mentioned, yeah. Anyway, there's more to say, but I better leave it at that. And but yeah, like Prabhupada says, keep chanting, chant Hare Krishna he says, chant Hare Krishna should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs, like that. So that's the best thing. Even Radhanath Maharaj mentioned that he had noticed that before any devotee fell down, he stopped chanting his 16 rounds. So that's our best protection, as Prabhupada mentions here. Just keep chanting, don't stop chanting. But even somehow or other, if Maya makes us stop chanting, then just start it up again. Even if you do stop. I mean, ideally keep chanting, but even if you do stop, then just pick it up and have another go. Like that. You fall off your bike, then get up and don't stay down, get up again and like that. There's no reason to give up Krishna consciousness. Maya will try to tell us there is. Oh, you're not good enough. You can't do it. You haven't got where you wanted to be or whatever. Maya in our mind will tell us so many, things that we should give up Krishna consciousness, but that's just Maya. If you ever hear a voice saying you should give up Krishna consciousness, that's not Krishna. That's Maya. That's Maya. So don't listen to Maya. Listen to Krishna. Krishna's saying, keep chanting Hare Krishna. And yeah, he always loves us unconditionally. Even if we stop chanting, he still loves us. As mentioned in that 12th chapter, even if you can't chant, then work for him. Even if you can't work for him, give up the fruits. Even if you can't do that, like that. So he's always there. He's always encouraged us for whatever level we're on. Whatever level we're on, he's encourages us. Very good, very good. Okay, now do a little bit more. Like that. So thank you very much. Anyone want to say anything?
No, thank you.
And yeah, you enjoy your Janmashtami and Prabhupada Vyasa Puja.
Yeah, sure.
And then Radhastami has come shortly after that, a couple of weeks after that. It's our festival season. Balaram's appearance day. We just had that, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
Do you know about there's this Maha Avatar Nrsimha movie?
Yes.
Playing it in Newcastle, so I think we're going to go see it tomorrow night.
Oh, that's nice.
Are they playing it anywhere near you?
No, but it's not what you know, it's who you know. So Jayanti managed to score it through a friend, has sent it to us. So we watched it a few days ago.
How was it?
I mean, I thought I wasn't too excited about it. I'd prefer there to be real persons rather than animated. Jayanti liked it, but what I do think it's brilliant, it's absolutely following the Bhagavatam. So for like non-devotees in that, they're getting the full truth, not 50% of the truth, but 100%. So I mean, it's giving the full conclusion of devotional service and everything. So brilliant for non-devotees to get that exposure like that.
Thank you, and Hare Krishna. See you soon.
Okay, Hare Krishna.